Close your eyes for a moment. I want you to listen, not to my voice, but to the silence behind it. In that silence, there is a frequency, a signal. It's the ghost of an idea you once had, a vision that flickered in your mind's eye and then faded, drowned out by the noise of the world, by the logic of the reasonable, by the fear of the unimaginative. It's the blueprint of a life you were meant to live, a creation you were meant to birth, a destiny you were meant to claim. And it is dying, not with a bang, but with a whimper of compromise. We are going to resurrect it, not as a wish, not as a goal, not as a dream. We are going to resurrect it as an obsession. This is not about positive thinking. This is about possession. The possession of your own mind by a single, dominant idea so powerful, so all-consuming, that it rewires your nervous system, recalibrates your perception of reality, and bends the very fabric of circumstance to its will. This is the obsession principle, and it is the most potent, misunderstood, and feared force in the history of human achievement. Look at the world around you. It is built by obsessives. The device you are watching this on, the software that runs it, the networks that connect you to a global consciousness. These were not the products of balanced hobbies and well-rounded weekends. They were forged in the white-hot fires of a singular focus that excluded all else. The Edisons who saw not failure in 10,000 filaments, but 10,000 ways the world would not be illuminated until they found the one way it would. The Fords who became so obsessed with the democratization of movement that they saw an assembly line in the high disassembly of a carcass in a Chicago slaughterhouse, transforming the chaos of production into a rhythmic, unstoppable symphony. These were not well-adjusted men. They were possessed. They were outliers, madmen, fanatics in the eyes of a society that preaches moderation above all else. Society fears the obsessed because they are the architects of change, and change is the death of complacency. Your conditioning, from the moment you could understand language, has been a systematic program to sand down your edges, to dilute your focus, to make you manageable, predictable, and safe, to murder the obsessive inside you before it ever learned to walk.
But that part of you is not dead. It is dormant, a sleeping giant in the dungeon of your subconscious. And to awaken it, we must first perform an autopsy on the life you have settled for. We must dissect the corpse of your compromise. Look at your daily rituals, the compulsive checking of notifications, the endless scroll through the curated highlights of other people's lives, the consumption of content that does not educate, does not inspire, does not build, but only numbs. This is not living. This is a digital opium den, and you are inhaling the fumes of your own surrendered potential. Your mind, the most powerful creation engine in the universe, has been reduced to a receptacle for advertisements and anxieties. Your attention, the literal currency of your life force, is being spent by the penny on distractions that were designed to be addictive, not additive. You are renting out your consciousness to the highest bidder, and the price is your soul. This is the great tragedy of our age, not poverty of wealth, but poverty of attention. We are starved for meaning because we have feasted on emptiness. To break this cycle requires more than discipline. It requires a violent reclamation of your mental real estate. Imagine your mind as a kingdom. For years, it has been under siege. Invaders named doubt, fear, and distraction have scaled the walls, poisoned the wells, and planted their flags on the highest towers. You have been a prisoner in your own castle, watching from a tiny cell as they plunder your resources. The obsession principle is the call to arms. It is you, the rightful ruler, gathering the last loyal soldiers of your will, storming the battlements and taking back your throne, room by room, thought by thought. This is an internal war, and it is fought not with swords, but with a ruthless quality of thought. The first decree of the reclaimed mind is this: from this moment forward, this kingdom welcomes only one guest. one idea, one vision. And all other thoughts, all other influences, must either swear allegiance to this single, ruling power or be exiled on sight. This is where we plant the seed of your obsession. But we must be careful. A goal is not an obsession. A dream is not an obsession. A goal is a destination you hope to visit one day. An obsession is the air you breathe, the blood in your veins, the very ground you walk upon. It is not something you have. It is something you are. So I ask you now, in the quiet of this moment, stripped of all pretense and politeness, what is the one idea that, if you gave your life to it completely, would make every struggle, every sacrifice, every moment of doubt worth the price? Do not say money. Money is a byproduct, a resource, never the source. Do not say fame. Fame is an echo, a shadow, never the substance. You must go deeper. What is the problem you are desperate to solve? What is the arc you are terrified to create? What is the change you feel compelled to manifest in the world? What is that singular burning picture in your mind that, when you glimpse it, makes your heart ache with a homesickness for a future you have not yet lived? That flicker in the darkness, that is the raw material of your obsession. Now we must feed it. An obsession, like a fire, must be given fuel or it will gutter and die. Most people make a fatal mistake here. They state their desire once, write it down on a piece of paper, and then wonder why the universe hasn't delivered it to them on a silver platter. This is not how reality works. Your desire must be incubated. It must be nurtured in the warm, dark womb of your subconscious mind until it develops a heartbeat of its own. This requires a daily, non-negotiable ritual of impregnating your mind with the vision. You must move from passive hoping to active impregnation. Every morning, before the world has a chance to impose its agenda upon you, you must retreat into the sanctuary of your mind. Close your eyes and see it, not as a vague, distant wish, but as a present moment reality. Feel the texture of the success. Hear the sounds associated with its achievement. Smell it, taste it. You are not visualizing a future event. You are rehearsing a current reality from the inside out. You are building a memory of the future so vivid, so emotionally charged, that your nervous system cannot tell the difference between the rehearsal and the real performance. This is not mystical fluff. This is neurological fact. You are carving new neural pathways, building the cognitive infrastructure for reality that does not yet exist in the physical world, but is already under construction in the world of your mind. And as you build this vision, you must give it a voice. This is the power of autosuggestion that Napoleon Hill wrote of, but modernized for a skeptical mind. It is not about chanting empty affirmations you don't believe. It is about programming your subconscious with a clear, concise, and commanding statement of fact. Write down your central obsession in a single definitive sentence. Not "I want to be successful," but "I am the architect of a revolutionary system that empowers 10 million people to achieve financial sovereignty." Do you feel the difference? One is a weak plea. The other is a declaration of identity. You must write this statement. You must read it aloud with conviction. Twice a day, once upon waking, once before sleeping. In these twilight states, the critical, analytical guard at the gate of your subconscious is drowsy, and your command can slip past its defenses and take root in the fertile soil of your deepest mind. This is how you hijack your own brain. This is how you turn a thought into a belief, and a belief into an unshakable conviction. But conviction without a plan is just a mood. An obsession demands a blueprint. It demands a master plan. This is where you move from the ethereal to the practical. You must sit down with the cold, hard light of reason and chart the course. Break down the monumental into the manageable. Your obsession is the peak of a distant mountain. You cannot leap to the summit. You must map the base camps. What is the first ridge? What equipment do you need? What skills must you acquire? Who must you become to be worthy of the climb? Write it down. Every step. This plan is your sacred text. It is not set in stone. It will evolve, it will adapt, but it must exist. A ship without a rudder may catch the wind, but it will only drift. Your obsession is the wind in your sails, but your plan is the rudder that ensures you are blown toward your destination and not onto the rocks. This plan becomes the filter through which you process every decision, every hour, every dollar, every relationship. You will begin to ask a new, ruthless question. Does this activity, this person, this expense, move me closer to my obsession or further away? And based on the answer, you will have the clarity to say yes with power and no without apology. This clarity gives birth to a new kind of discipline. Not the discipline of grinding through tasks you hate, but the discipline of protecting your focus with a ferocity that borders on the sacred. The world will try to distract you. It will send emails, dramas, opportunities, and emergencies, all designed to pull you off your path. The obsessed individual understands that no is a complete sentence. They understand that time is the only non-renewable resource, and they guard it like a dragon guards its gold. They become masters of elimination. They strip away the non-essential with a surgeon's precision. Social obligations that drain them, media that dulls them, conversations that diminish them all are surgically removed. Your circle of influence will shrink. You will be called arrogant, selfish, boring. Good, let them talk. The opinion of those who are not on the path is irrelevant to the traveler, who is obsessed with the destination. This is the price of admission to a life of extraordinary achievement. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to be lonely on the path so that you can be fulfilled at the summit. And on this path, you will be tested. Failure is not a possibility. It is a prerequisite. You will fall. You will stumble. You will face setbacks that seem to obliterate your plan. This is the critical juncture where obsessions are born or aborted. The average person sees failure as a verdict. The obsessed see it as data. It is feedback from reality, a necessary adjustment in the trajectory. Think of the Wright Brothers at Kitty Hawk. Their obsession was not with flying, but with learning how to fly. Every crash, every broken wing was not a defeat. It was a lesson that brought them one adjustment closer to defying gravity. They were not attached to a single perfect outcome. They were attached to the process of discovery itself. Your obsession must be the same. It must be so deeply intertwined with the process of overcoming, of learning, of adapting, that the failures become fuel. They become the very friction that sharpens your resolve. When you fall, you do not look up at the mountain in despair. You look down at the ground, and you learn everything you can about the rock you just tripped over, so you will never trip on one like it again. Then you get up, smarter, tougher, and more determined than before. This relentless forward motion requires a fuel that is more potent than willpower. It requires a profound sense of purpose. Your obsession cannot be a selfish whim. It must be tied to a contribution that is greater than yourself. Why? Because when the pain is intense, when the doubt is loud, a selfish desire will crumble. But a purpose that serves others will give you a strength that is not your own. Henry Ford was not obsessed with cars. He was obsessed with mobilizing a nation, with putting every family on the road to freedom and exploration. His obsession was about a transformation of human experience. Your obsession must have a similar anchor in service. How will your million-dollar reality improve the lives of others? How will it solve a pain, fill a void, or create a new possibility for your community, your industry, your family? Connect your deepest desire to a higher purpose, and you tap into an infinite wellspring of energy. You are no longer just building a business. You are building a legacy. You are no longer just creating art. You are injecting beauty into a world that desperately needs it. This alignment of personal obsession with universal contribution is the secret to an unstoppable force. As you build, you must also cultivate the soil from which all great things grow, a mindset of unwavering gratitude. This seems counterintuitive. How can you be grateful for what you have when you are obsessed with what you do not yet have? Because gratitude is not a passive acceptance of your current state. It is an active recognition of the resources already at your disposal. It is the energy of attraction. When you operate from a frequency of lack and desperation, you repel the very opportunities and resources you seek. When you operate from a frequency of gratitude, for the journey itself, for the lessons in the failures, for the strength forged in the struggle, for the vision that guides you, you become a magnet for synchronicity. People are drawn to your energy. Opportunities seem to manifest from nowhere. This is not magic. It is psychology and energy. Grateful people are more resilient, more creative, and more attractive to collaborative forces. Your obsession is the engine, but gratitude is the oil that prevents it from seizing up under the friction of the journey.